For over 10,000 years, cultures around the world have been creating unique wood carvings, baskets, and leatherworks. In addition to being important historically, every one of these handicrafts is unique, teaches you important skills, and can serve both practical and artistic purposes. I'm Ainsley Martin, and on this episode of Scouting Skills of Survival, you'll learn everything you need to know to create your own lanyard, paper plate weaving, and wooden owl. First handicraft we're going to talk about is wood carving or whittling. But before you can do that, you have to choose a tool. Pocket knives are a very common whittler's tool because they're very portable and can contain many blades. For more accuracy and best performance, you can use a whittler's knife. This has a large master blade, a flat edge sheepfoot blade for getting rid of excess wood, and a pen blade for details. There are also fixed blade whittler's knives that are a little bit more stable and have a curved handle for comfort. Regardless of what blade you choose, there's no need to go big on them at first. As you get more experience, you can invest in a straight cutting knife or gouge or a V-tool. The first rule of whittling is to keep your knife sharp. Not only does it make the job much more relaxing and easier, but it also makes it a lot safer. This is because a dual knife is a lot more likely to skirt off your project and still be able to cut into your hand. Therefore, anytime you feel like it's getting hard to cut, sharpen your knife. Now to sharpen, you need two things: a sharpening stone and some lubricant. There are as many types of sharpening stones as there are ways to sharpen a knife, but most have a rough grit on one side and a finer grit on the other side. The finer the grit, the sharper the knife. So start with the rougher and then move on to the finer grit. Most experts also recommend using a lubricant such as water or some types of oils. This lessens the heat generated when the blade goes against the rock, which could warp the blade, and also clears out debris. Now I don't have a sharpening stone, so I'm going to be using this flat rock. Firstly, hold your blade against the rock at a 15 to 10 degree angle and keep this angle consistent. Also remember not to let your fingers get in the way of the blade. Now imagine you're cutting off a thin slice of the rock and push forward with moderate pressure. Do this a few times and then flip the blade to do the other side. And now your knife is sharpened. The most important thing to remember when whittling is to maintain your blood circle. This is the circle around you that no one can enter while you're whittling for safety reasons. To make it, hold out your blade straight ahead of you, with it facing towards you, not out, and slowly make a circle with your arm. It is your duty to make sure no one enters this circle, and if they do, stop what you're doing and move to a safer location. Another important thing to remember is that when walking with a fixed blade knife, always hold it straight down and against your leg. There are three main cuts you need to know in order to make your whittling project. The first one is the straightaway cut. This is what you'll be using to make the main shape of your project. Assuming you're right-handed, hold the wood in your left and the blade facing away from you. Now, make sure that none of your fingers are in the path of the blade, and make a smooth forward cut. Make sure that you don't push down too hard, as you might break the wood. The next type of cut is the pull stroke or par cut. This is what you'll be using for the majority of your project and will be used to make more detailed cuts. To do this, hold the wood in your left hand and the blade towards you. hold your right thumb against the wood. Then pull the knife towards you by slowly and controllably bringing in your fingers. Make sure your thumb is not in the path of the blade. This is why it's smart to have a thumb guard. You can get these for just a few dollars and will make your experience much safer. Now the last type of cut is the push stroke. Use this when you want details, but you can't reach the area with the pull stroke. Hold the wood yet again in your left hand and face the blade away from you. Now put the back of your left thumb against the blade and the back of your right thumb. Push forward with your left thumb and use your right hand to steer. Remember not to rush when whittling. Keep every stroke controlled and safe. It is also wise, especially when you're just starting out, to use leather gloves or a whittling glove. This will feel a little bit bulky at first, but you'll quickly adjust. Now you know all the cuts you need to begin our project. I'm going to show you how to whittle a stick owl. You're going to need to find a stick that's as wide as you want the owl and at least twice as long. We're going to start by whittling in from its head and then up from its body. Now we're going to carve slightly down from the bottom of the body, leaving 2 pieces of bark for legs. Now carve straight down the front of your owl's face to flatten it, leaving a small bit for the beak. Make ears by carving a curvy W shape on top. You can make your owl's ears thinner by carving in the sides and carving up the front and back. Now all you have to do is add eyes and you're done. Great job! You've now created your very own wooden owl. The next type of handicraft we're going to be looking at is leatherworking. Leather comes from animals, and there are a ton of different types, each with their own qualities and uses. Cowhide is the most common and is very durable, versatile, and easy to use. It's best suited for things like boots, belts, furniture, and tack. Sheepskin is very light and soft, making it great for clothing, while goat skin is very tough, durable, and easy to dye bright colors. Kangaroo leather is very light, thin, and the strongest weight for weight, making it preferred for sports gloves and shoes. Lastly, reptile leather, which includes lizards, snakes, and alligators, has many different grains and patterns, making it best for fancy goods. There is also such thing as artificial or synthetic leather. This is a plastic product that can be used for many of the same things as leather, and is also cheaper and more wear resistant. There are lots of things you can do with leather. After cutting it, you can punch holes or set snaps or rivets. You can make designs by carving them or by punching them in with metal stamps. When you're finished, you can apply dye, finish, or stain to your design and then dress the edges. Projects are commonly held together by lacing or stitches. Braiding is a very important leatherworking technique. A piece of braided leather is significantly stronger than a piece of unbraided leather that's the same size. These are used for things such as keychains and jewelry, equestrian tack, and dog leashes. I'm going to show you how to make a lanyard. I must warn you that the first knot is significantly harder, so bear with me. Start by crossing your strands in front of you in an X shape. Then we're going to bring the top right corner over one string. Cross one. Then, moving clockwise, we're going to cross two. Then cross two again.
And lastly, we're going to cross 1 over, 1 under. So 1 over and then 1 under. Then pull to tighten. This should make a square checkerboardy shape. Now we're going to build up our lanyard with the same knot multiple times. To do this, we're going to move counterclockwise. Yet again, cross over 1, cross over 2, cross over 2 again, and then 1 over, 1 under. Continue in this way until the lanyard is the size you like. The most common mistake made when making these is to let the string twist. Don't let this happen, as it will make your lanyard look very uneven. This is a good example of a completely built up lanyard. Take your time, and this takes patience. It's a good thing to do while you're waiting in line somewhere. Well, great job, you've just created your very own lanyard. The last type of handicraft we're going to be covering is basketry. Basketry has been around since long before pottery or stone carving. As soon as people learned how to weave fibers together, we began experimenting with baskets. These were used to contain anything from food to clothing to trade goods. Anything that you use containers for now, such as Tupperware or pockets, was used in baskets. When traders from faraway countries would ship their goods, they would do this in baskets, and then the techniques would be utilized in the new areas. Basketry techniques were also used to make things such as sandals, shields, animal pens and harnesses, fishing, sleeping mats, buildings, and fine art. There are many different types of baskets, which are each constructed and used in a unique way. The first I'm going to show you is the coil basket, which was originally used in southern Australia and is made out of soft materials such as yucca, grass, or willow. Note that coiling is not weaving. To make it, you start your flexible coil in the center and then wrap it on top of itself and then stitch it all together. The next type is the plaited basket, which is usually a flat square or rectangle and was traditionally used by many Native American tribes. To make it, you use a flat material such as palm or yucca and interweave it with an identical material. Finally, there are ribbed baskets, which originated in Europe. This style can be used to make complex and strong round-bottom baskets. To make it, you begin with a basic framework of hoops and ribs, and then you weave up from the bottom. Paper plate weaving is a very fun and inexpensive way to learn about and practice weaving. The first thing we need to do is cut an odd number of stakes into our plate. We'll do this by cutting slits up to the center circle, making them small triangles, that way we can fold up the wall. When you're done cutting your plate, you're going to weave in the walls with colors of yarn. Use whatever colors you like to make your basket unique. I tied my string on with a square knot. You can also use tape. Just bring the string in front of the plate and then behind the plate, then in front of the plate, then behind the plate, and repeat till you reach the top. Before you get too high, push down on the walls to make them go up. And continue. When you've finished with the walls and tied your string, you can either cut off the rim or leave it be. Well, there you go. You've weaved your very own basket. I hope you enjoyed learning all about wood carving, basketry, and leatherworking. You now know the history of basket weaving, the types of leather and knives, and how to make a lanyard, paper plate weaving, and wooden owl. I encourage you to try your hand at these awesome activities and important skills with parental supervision. That said, get out there, have fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye!